It's Blazing Hot 91, the Blazing Hot Morning Show. Good morning to you, 757, and good morning, America. Good morning, Cheryl.
Good morning, Doug.
Yes, indeed. There's a lot going on across America. You know, we are definitely waking up this morning and we're finding out that the presidential race is still going on to that road to 270. We have Joe Biden right now in the lead over Trump, 238 to 213. And joining us to discuss this is Dr. Eric Claville. He is the host of State of the Water and the director of the Center for African American Public Policy here at Norfolk State University. Doc, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much, Doug. It's so good to be on the morning show at WNSB Blazing Hot 91.
Yes, indeed. Now, so much has gone on overnight. Cheryl and I were talking a little bit earlier, given all the rundowns and everything else. This is coming down to a tight race.
Listen, tight is not the word to really describe it. I mean, this is historical. Right now, we do not have a president of the United States for the next 4 years. Don't get me wrong, President Trump is still the president. But, you know, we're going to have to wait and see what the ballot count is. We've got to wait and see what the absentee ballots say. And also the early voting, those that came into the polls and voted early. So this race can go back and forth, but the states that were called for each candidate are going to stay as is because the projections are they're pretty accurate. So they're within a margin of error. So the states that are called is there. Only thing now is that one candidate can move up and one candidate can stay where they are as it relates to the Electoral College count.
Look, what happens if this thing becomes sort of deadlock and then one candidate decides to take it to the courts?
Well, that's exactly what's going to happen. We're anticipating the court challenge. Keep in mind that the U.S. Supreme Court made 5 rulings on ballots for the state of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Texas, and North Carolina. Now, keep in mind, 2 of those states are currently not decided yet. They're battleground states as well. So really, we're looking at a court battle between, more than likely, it's going to be the state of Pennsylvania that it's going to come down to.
Okay. Now, how is that affecting? Because the court system was just pretty much stacked with the appointment that just happened a few weeks ago.
Doug, listen, you couldn't have said it better. Elections have consequences. So that's why it was so important for the Republicans to really push to fill that seat for Justice Ginsburg, because the ruling of the Supreme Court with the ballot challenge by the Republicans before the election was a 4-4 tie. And keep in mind, there's one more justice who's on the bench now, and she is a conservative. So the side that she's going to side on, more than likely it's going to be on the side of the conservatives. And more than likely, if it comes down to Pennsylvania, if it comes down to this court challenge, it's more than likely that she will side with her colleagues in another 5-4 decision. And what did we see this before? In 2000, in Bush versus Gore.
Wow. So history is repeating itself.
To say the least. The least. But we're going to keep watching it. Again, we did our part. Everybody went out. Everybody voted. Everyone engaged in the civic process. And keep in mind, we had over 4 million more people engage in social media to register to vote. We had a record number of registrations to vote, record number of early voting, record number of millennials and Gen Z voters. So everyone did their part. Now we just simply have to wait the democratic process. We have to wait for the count and see what happens. But keep in mind, no matter who's in the White House, America is still going to stand. Our democracy is still going to be great. It's just not about one person, but it's about America and the people making sure that we hold our elected officials accountable, making sure we engage in the process, and making sure that we continue to make our country what we want it to be.
That's a very strong statement, and we were talking a little bit earlier in the program. And as we were looking at numbers, we have a lot of local races, too, that have pretty much filled out all over the 757. We were talking to some of the candidates who actually won earlier in the show, Eric. Now, that is where politics really meets the road for you in the 757 is our local races.
Yes. As a matter of fact, as the saying goes, all politics is local. So the local officials who are now going to take continue in their position. For example, Mayor Dyer out of Virginia Beach is one, and it's still mayor. He's going to be mayor for another term. We have Shannon Glover, who's the new mayor of Portsmouth, and several others who have won their seats on the city council in that area. So this is where the rubber meets the road. The local elections are the people that you see that you worship with in church. These are the ones that you see in the grocery stores. These are the ones that you see at the gas station and filling up their cars with gas. These are the ones that you can really pick up the phone and say, hey, I've got an issue, or can I call your office? So these positions were very important to be filled, and again, the people spoke.
There you go. Cheryl, definitely the people have spoke about this all across America.
That is true.
Yeah.
And as you said, Eric, we're just going to have to wait until these court cases play out and see what happens. But it's somewhat of exciting time, but it's also kind of nerve-wracking at the same time.
Like that it is, but for us political scientists and also us in the legal community, it's exciting. But one thing that we do know is that we've got a system of checks and balances, and the checks and balances will work. So I want our listeners to understand that again, it's really boils down to the American people. It boils down to you as an individual, how you get out and vote, how you hold individuals accountable. That's really what it's all about. And it's all about WNSB, Stay in the Water, Cheryl, Doug, all of us making sure that the people know exactly what's going on and making sure that they stay informed. So together we will get through this.
Yeah, and I also want people to know that after these people get into office, whomever shakes out wherever, we need to hold them accountable.
Exactly. You couldn't have said it better, Cheryl. Couldn't have said it better.
We need to stay on top of our issues, our policies, what we want, and we need to hold them accountable. And if they don't, they will be voted out. That's the way it should be. They work for us.
That's right. And holding them accountable, like I said, means that they have to be informed. So that means that the public, those who are listeners to our radio shows, have to be informed, which is why it's so important that we let people know just as it is, right? We have to let them know exactly what's going on so that they can understand, how their tax dollars are being spent. They can understand, the impact of like the casino that was approved by the voters. What is the impact of that? The impact of the constitutional amendment that was approved in order to draw and redistrict. It's taken out of the hands of the governor, taken out of the hands of the legislators, and it's going to be in the hands of a group of people who are appointed and in the court system. So that is huge. But we'll get into that another time because redistricting is coming up. We've got the U.S. Census. And then keep in mind, Doug, and Cheryl, the election, but we also had the U.S. Census. They filled out the census. I know we had a push about that on the morning show and other shows on WNSB and all over, because that's going to determine the federal dollars that come down to our city, come down to our local level, our schools, in order to be apportioned and to run the programs that we need to run to ensure that the people have the advantages that they need to have. So it's going to be an exciting time. I'm excited. 2020 was a heck of a year, but 2021 is going to be even better.
There you go. Thanks a lot for coming in on our segment, Health Healing and Hampton Roads, on the Blazing Hot Morning Show. I look forward to hearing more on your show, State of the Water, on Sunday, definitely, as well as, a couple of visits here and there as this process continues to play out all across America. Dr. Eric Claville, thank you so much for coming on the Blazing Hot Morning Show and everything that you're doing for the Center for African American Public Policy here at Norfolk State University.
Thank you, Doug.
All right. Cheryl, what a great cap on this morning, I tell you.
Yeah, we tried to cover everything that our listeners would want to know. We're still staying on it. We don't leave until 10 o'clock, so we're gonna monitor what's going on, and we're going to bring you the latest and the greatest.
And we're going to continue all that coverage right here on Blazing Hot 91 because we will get through this together.